Welcome to Circle of Hearts Radio. Journey with Grandmother Allayah as she enters her magical world of relics, sacred sites, and ancient crystal skulls. Meet with exciting trailblazer authors and individuals shifting the consciousness of humanity. Send her your questions to be answered on air on her monthly segment, Ask the Oracle. And now your host, Grandmother Allayah, in the sanctuary on the airwaves on OMTimes Radio.
Hearts Radio on OMTimes Radio FM. I'm Allayah, your host. Today, I have scheduled a meeting with Megan Canarias, and who wrote a very trailblazing book on a deeper perspective on Alzheimer's and other dementias, practical tools and spiritual insights. Well, this show was canceled due to Megan's ill health. And I sat really for a few days saying, okay, what am I going to do? Should I put a replay on? I mean, this is her work, and it's a very great book on anybody that's dealing with chronic illnesses, dementia, Alzheimer, and the role of the caretaker and the elderly. And I decided, well, I have some background in this. So using her book as a platform on some particular points toward the end of the show. And again, her book is a deeper perspective on Alzheimer's and other dementias, and it's listed on the promos of my show. I seriously, if you're involved in a situation like this, seriously get this book. Read it. It is most helpful, and it's one of the best I've seen, because now we're looking at a point in this world of choices. I mean, we've discussed it since January with another author in her book Choices. I've discussed it with Charlie Riverman on the Heart and Soul Talks, and we've really come to realize our experiences on this planet, even day to day, even if you're not into the metaphysical, if you just open your mind to this, you realize what your thoughts are is what you're putting out there for experiences, to understand situations, to create, to become more of an integrated soul, more expansive. And disease and death, or even the journey, if you present it as a life journey, has smacked us in the face in the past month with all these musical artists dying. We can't run away from the situation. So if we understand life cycles from the spiritual perspective of maybe a soul contract, which you came in to understand, and to understand disease as an energetic experience, and also end life cycles of Alzheimer. Now, Alzheimer is really scary because you feel you're in this world, but you're not in this world. And looking at the spiritual perspective of, well, maybe this was a choice, a contract, the soul had decided to choose as part of their end journey. It opens your eyes, and you don't fear things as much because you understand it. But also in understanding it, you can change your soul contract. You could, at some point, saying, no, I don't want this experience. I don't need to have this experience in my latter years. I can make better choices, which will totally change your soul contract and give you other potentialities. Now, I don't often talk because I'm always so interested in all the people that are on here and what they have to say. But to give you a little, I do have background, which I think allows me to share some of my perspectives. And again, you use your discernment. You just think of this as listening. If you came to the show wondering about the subject, well, maybe me sharing my perspective, and it is purely my perspective, either it may open your mind or you may say it's not for you. So, whatever decision you make, and again, choice is right for you at the time. But maybe sometime in another down the road or future or something, you might say, well, maybe there was something to this. So let's go, with that idea of just keep your mind open and see where it goes. Now, my background, which allows me to speak of this, is since early childhood, and I mean really early childhood, I was always interested in healing. I always, even as a little child, I decided that, I could heal, I could fix, and it was in my mind that I could. And I had my own little hospital set up for, broken insects and um, small animals or whatever, flowers or whatever. And, I had in my child's mind, which partly was probably another aspect of me, that I could fix it. So I've always had this interest in healing or laying on of hands. So then, as I grew older, much older, and went into the nursing field, I had a fascination toward hospice and also birth. So I became a birth doula, which was a person who holistically helps the entry of the child or soul into this incarnation. And I also worked as a hospice nurse, helping many in transition. So that with coupled with regular nursing and also being an energy healing of many, many different forms of Reiki or laying on of hand or plant medicine or herbals or supplements, it gives me the ability to say, well, let's talk about this. So, as part of the choices that you make in your life, let's talk about disease. What is disease? First, think of this: we are an energy body, all energy vibrating at different rates, all these cells. We're a projected thought form. Spirit animates this projected thought form. And this takes a little bit to, think about, but, if you think about it, it's an interesting concept. So if we're all energy, let's take the word, and words are energy also, as we're finding out in our life, whatever comes out of our mouth or our emotions, thoughts, we seem to project it and we're making this real and we're seeing it happen in our day-to-day lives. So let's take the word disease. What is it? Dis and ease. It's a disharmony. There's an imbalance in our energetic fields on some level, whether it's spiritual, emotional, or physical. Now, when you have an incarnation, whether it's chronic illness or whether it's uh, maybe karmic, something you wanted to come into this life and experience for you to have an understanding, or whether it's a physical ailment, which a lot of us are being affected by all these energies around us, and things called ascension flu, which is a bombardment of energies and how it affects our chakras and throws them off balance, or with inclement energy, and which is very heart centered, the opening of our heart center. And what do? We physically feel symptoms of palpitations, of being extremely emotional. This everything is energy and how it relates to us and how our words are put out there. I've always used with speaking to my family, if you constantly say, I've got a pimple on my nose, eventually you'll see that pimple manifest because it is a belief system and the words you're putting out are actually creating this. So when we're I'm trying to start at basics here. So realize your words are creating certain situations in your life. And when we talk about disease, think of the thing. If you're in a position, whether you're ill, whether it's chronic or something that has just appeared, ask yourself the question, why do you think you need to be sick? So now we go back to this part of your life's journey as, is this a soul contract? Is this something you created in your life to experience? And you say, why do I want to be sick? Well, sometimes it's a variety of things. Sometimes being sick and experiencing all the levels and all that happens first, it gives you a chance to become empowered and say, I no longer want this. I want different choices. And I'll continue on this subject on the next after a short break.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
Join Elliot Jollish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jollish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jollish Hour. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Getting back to what we were talking about before, why, and if you are ill, look, and you want to have change in your life, you have to decide, are you going to be a victim or are you going to make choices to create a different part of your life? On the question, why do you think you need to be sick? Well, this is part of your life journey. When I do a in-depth reading and someone asks about health, I usually do an energy scan. And in doing so, I'll look at them spiritually, emotionally, and physically. All right, to see what is going on with the person, what possible challenges their soul had created to maybe learn a particular lesson in their life's journey. Because your soul has mapped things out, but nothing is totally written in stone. You may have gone yourself to the point to being ill at a particular, comes up to a point, but then you have the choice to change. You have a choice to choose a different soul contract. And people that have made that decision, that there's more to do in this life, more to experience. I've seen so many examples where people have come down with disease or limitations, and they say, no, this is not the end. Let me look at this and see what I can do to change. And every time a person makes that one statement that something changes within them, the contract of the old past is over. They are no longer the victim, but new answers are provided. New people come into the arena to show them different things. How many times have you read or heard in discussions and forums people saying, I've overcome this, I've overcome that, I've been on the brink of physical disaster, and I've overcome it. I have found the answers. I've been inspired somehow, whether it's deep within you to find certain answers, to be led to them, whether it's your religious belief, or whether someone has passed by you or crossed your path and has provided an inspiration that you can do this. You do not have to be or continue that experience anything further. Life is a journey. Life is experiences. And you, as that creator spirit in form, this body, can create whatever you wish, even though you might say this is an impossible situation. I can't do it. You can do it. You have that ability to do it. And this is one point that I'd like to, bring out as far as disease goes. Something within you, whether it's your soul contract, something saying, well, at some point of your life, if it's not going a certain particular way or you're reacting to environmental things around you, it's going to affect your body. But you have the choice to say, enough, I want something different. And the answers start to come, and you start on your journey of healing. So this is part of this whole fluctuation of choices and a life journey that you make. So the point I'm trying to bring out to whoever you are and to whatever your experience, you can become fully empowered to no longer experience things. I know, let's make this personal. In 1999, being a nurse and raising my two daughters and living, a very stressful life, and I'm not really seeming going anywhere. And also after parts of my own journey of becoming spiritually aware, shutting things down, this constant flow of back and forth, by the age of 50, shutting off the throat chakra, the energy. There, I developed a massive brain tumor. And then I went through the experience of, the body deteriorating, the mind deteriorating. And that, that part of my life, it brought me up to that point. But I had to go through the experience of the surgery and the rehab, because sometimes physically you'll create something that you do have to go It's not going to totally disappear by spiritual means. You have to go through the process and experience things, you know. And here I am now, through many, many years of healing, of many years of nerve damage, of many years of hiding out, of being disabled. That was another past 16 years has been a total life journey just within those 16 years. And I've come to realize every time that I've looked at something, all right, why am I still like this? I've gone through the things of victimhood of I can't heal, it's going to be like this. And then you get inspired, or a new direction comes in your life, and you really do come to realize you start to make choices in different ways or different mindsets, and you realize you're not limited at all. And as your mind becomes a little more expansive, and you realize, well, I'm not limited to this form. It's not going to totally hold me back. The form starts to regenerate. So this applies for everybody. And this is why I think I can discuss parts of this subject with you, because I've experienced it. And I've seen many, many people, many, whether it was nursing or whether in my own contacts with people and just talking with them, they have come to this point that their physical body deteriorated in some form. And once they recognized what that core issue was, what held them back, of maybe why it was reflected in their physical body, whether it was something emotional, whether it was something spiritual, some kind of lesson had to be addressed. And once that comes to the forefront and that you decide with it, you enter a whole new chapter of your life and a whole new journey in your life. And this has happened to me at this point in my life. I never knew. I feel like I've lived 2 or 3 whole life experiences in this body, in this one incarnation. And you realize that you have more influence on your body. And this is hard, because sometimes it's so natural to fall back into the old patterns of saying, oh, I don't feel good, or, I can't do it. And every time you do that, you fall back into that old pattern, and you start experiencing the old pattern, and then you gotta shake your head and say, no, this is not what I want. I'm choosing the rest of the journey in this physical form, and it's going to be how I wish to see it. And I'm not victim, or somebody says to me, well, you only have such a short time. I've been told that. I was told, go get all your papers done. If you come out of the operation, you'll be a vegetable all your life. Well, this was 16 years ago. And the doctors got mad at me because I said, I'm not going to own this, and I'm not going to believe your words. You're not going to put a sentence on me. And I annoyed many people. But with that mindset of not owning what the words that they told me, not focusing, even though they said I was in denial and, not thinking clearly, it has brought me to this point of being able to heal, able to regather myself, to empower myself, we're at this point of 67, which I'll be in March. I'm on many different careers and have had many different experiences with the ancient crystal skulls and memories. And if I just gave up and became the victim and not look at what I was creating, I would not be speaking to you today. So it is through practicality that I want to bring out some points. This is not something you learn in a book. Even many of you who have many authors, popular authors on near-death experiences, they had to go that route. That was part of their soul journey, to come to an understanding and to be able to bring back this knowledge and help others understand things now, to empower people. So a lot of it has to do with contracts, or what you choose to experience in life. If you before the next commercial, if, for example, if someone is closed off emotionally, their heart chakra closes within itself. And that's not a normal state for the heart chakra. The heart chakra is expansive, and all the pressure within it is, therefore, it starts a ball rolling of heart disease, the whole gamut. If you're a very angry person, you bring in your aura. You bring it close to your body, and what you're doing, you're creating disharmony in all facets of your body. And from this emotional anger, it can show up as arthritis, it can show up as chronic pain, many varieties, whatever lessons need to be learned. So something to think about in your journey if you're experiencing disease, or if you're a person who loves someone that is experiencing these things. That person has to walk the walk, and that is the hardest thing for a person that cares about somebody else to experience. Next commercial, we're going to talk about caretakers and dementias.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What creates disease? that the need for you to look at what is the core issues, that if everything is around us is energetic and is influencing you in some direction, let's look at our emotional beliefs, what's happening there. Maybe sometimes illness is spiritual, meaning that this is a contract you made prior to incarnation to experience for whatever reason your soul needed to experience this. Sometimes overcoming illness when it's contractual or a spiritual experience. Finding out that you're not a victim, that this is not happening to you, that you in some way on a different level have created this energetic experience to show you something, a lesson, and to go through it and to overcome it, because you always have that choice. Again, the word choice, to overcome. It's not everything is set in stone. When you feel it's set in stone is when you are totally surrounded by people, well-meaning people, saying, well, this is it. And that's an emotional response, and you feel disempowered. But if you think about it, and when you're ill, you have a lot of time to think. You have a chance to come up with an idea. Do I need to go through this anymore? If I see what's causing it, if I'm seeing whether the emotional issues that have caused it, or maybe the spiritual issues that possibly I've entered into this incarnation, bringing this with me, or the physical issues of being allergic to things, allergic to life from environmental things around you. Look at the core issues, and then you can make a choice. Isn't it wonderful to know that you can make a choice, that you do not have to continue on this life journey of experiences by feeling, well, I have no choice. I just have to receive and do what anybody feels I need to do. You're powerful beings. We have consistently brought out that information. It doesn't matter whether you're in the States or whether you're in Europe or whether you're in this tiny country. If you have the ability to just listen and maybe think for a moment and alter your thoughts, you'll find out that you have more choices in this world, to change your life. We can't change other people's life, but we can change our own. And by understanding things, a lot of times on this show, I will talk of difficult subjects, things that we don't want to think about. But once you talk about them and you release the fear associated with them, release the fear of feeling of being a victim to all of it, that is where you gain your power back. That's where you gain your chance to make your choices. Now, in looking, again, like I said, Megan's book, A Deeper Perspective on Alzheimer and Other Dementias. Again, this is a very, very good book. She gives in-depth tools, outlines, how to deal with things. Or if you're the caretaker of elderly parents going through this, to reassess the situation and to realize maybe your parents have chosen this as part of their journey, but as the caretakers, how to look at it differently from a spiritual perspective, how to go and have a relationship with them, how to understand what is going on with them. Shamans of old and healers in many different ancient cultures have always looked at choices people have made in their lives toward the end. And anything with dementias, anything with the mindset, it's a person choosing to walk between two worlds. It's very complicated, this subject, and that's why I keep on presenting Megan's book. And I hope to get her back on in the future because she is truly the expert on this. I'm just trying to bring, some ideas to put out forth to you because it's something to think about, to understand when the soul decides to live that split dualistic life. Because we talk about, experiencing multi-dimensional lives. Well, isn't this what Alzheimer is? It's a person who's physically here, but who's experiencing, and their mind is experiencing different levels, different aspects of themselves, different journeys of themselves. They walk between the two worlds. And what we see here is not exactly all that they're experiencing. They're expansive. Their body's here, and we don't understand what's going on with them because we can't quite experience that journey with them, that experience of letting go. And her book is so extremely helpful to the families and to the clients with the Alzheimer's, and understanding this, that, again, please, if you're running into any situations like this, please read this book because there's so much to be learned from it. To not just, say, oh, I can't deal with this. I need to put them someplace, which makes it even harder for them. And then you deal as the caretaker with your own guilt of, well, maybe I should have done more. It's a beautiful journey back and forth if you can start to understand what is happening. So please, again, look into Megan's book, The Deeper Perspective of Alzheimer and Other Dementias. It's a hard journey to go through, but it's a very soul-fulfilling journey. And maybe that possibly is a contract that you establish between you and your parents, prior to this incarnation situation. So just keep an open mind to that. Because it seems like in our societies, when you get to be a certain age, that they continue, the mass consciousness says, okay, when you hit 50 and beyond or 60 and beyond, you're now a senior. That you lose all your abilities. You become this very vulnerable person they're not looking at, who has a vast array of experiences in their life to share. And this is what modern society projects on older people. And that's why I think I'm beginning to see a lot more with Alzheimer and other dementias coming up, because people are saying, I can't live in a world where I am not looked on as an equal, where people are going to treat me as a child, and I'm going to lose all my abilities and all my faculties. So this is why you might be seeing more of aspects of dementia coming up. But society is trying to change a little bit more. I've noticed also in giving people who are seniors a sense of value again, a sense of self-worth, a sense of independence, that we're valuable parts of society. Ancient cultures have looked at the seniors and put a label on them, elders. And normally I don't like the word elders, But in this sense, it's a sense of value that in many cultures, when they look at seniors or the parents or the grandparents, they're no longer saying, well, they have no value in this life. Let them just kind of go on and disappear. No, they recognize that they're more, that they have so much to offer. If only people will listen. So, this is a point I'd like to bring out myself because I've run into this thing of seniors. Oh, you're a senior citizen, or if you go through something forgetful, you got a senior moment. Well, I'm talking to people who are in their 20s that are having senior moments because of these energies. I'm just getting to the point of let's not label everybody because of age. Let's look at everybody's potential and do not put age factor on it. Look at a person as a soul and what that person has within them and the experiences to share. And I think our whole thing about healing or looks at energy and what we create and disease will change a lot. And people will have more respect for each other. And when you're willing to listen to the experience of another, it's because you have something maybe you can learn from that person. Not that they were saying my way is the best way, or even when I'm talking to you, my way is the best way. I'm just trying to bring out potential so somehow they might facilitate that aha moment in your own awakening. All right, no, we'll be back again.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Join Elliot Jolish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jolish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jolish Hour.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Allayah, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
In which, they advertise the Circle of Hearts. On these shows, I really want to, as they say, to bring forth topics that will nourish your soul. They will give you a chance to think, if you can face your fears that have been programmed just by living, just by experiencing, not that the programming that was a bad thing. It's a patterning, it's an assimilation of information in your life. That's why we call it programming. And that you have, again, this very important word, choice. But sometimes you don't know you have a choice until maybe you hear someone say, well, if the effect of choices can affect your life, that you do not have to be a victim to life. That once you can change the perceptions of your mind, or at least be open that door just a little bit, your life changes immensely. And you'll see a whole new journey, unfolding before you, and you become more empowered. And once you begin to understand this idea of spirit and body, you realize that there's so much you have control over. So let's eliminate the words fear. Let's eliminate the words victimhood. Let's eliminate the words dis-ease, because if you can understand something from a different perspective, just open your mind to that a little bit. You realize, well, I can change this. I have this ability within me. And this is not idle talk. This is what is. So in talking about, like I said, using Megan's book as sort of a stepping off on the platform of talking about disease and empowerment, there's in life parts of people what they choose their journey. Now, everybody does not want to be healed. This is a contract. And in Reiki or any source of healing, energy healing, we always send for and prayerful energy for the support of the highest positive aspect for that soul, because that soul makes that decision. So when some souls choose that, this is their journey is closing on this particular part of life, let's get to the point where, as other people that are interacting with them, that we understand their decision, that we don't, that we join them on their journey, that we join them by understanding them, by not backing off like they don't exist. Because illness is really an expression of lack of love for self, or sometimes it brings in other people in being ill. So when they do show attention or help in the caretakers, this interaction is an expansive part of the heart and of love, because our love is an immortal connection between souls that cannot be denied. So if we start to look at things a little bit differently, life is really interesting. And this doesn't happen overnight. I keep on saying this. I mean, there's many days I go through things and I say, okay, I understand it. And then 2 days later, no, it's back to, the roller coaster ride. So be gentle with yourself. But we give you tools to help you to bring out a little bit of change in your life, to open that door to new perceptions. And it's for you to take them or not. I wanted especially to be able to bring out some of this information today. And that's why I chose to, add my 2 cents on this subject. But like I said, I truly hope to have Megan on when she's feeling better, and to go into more depth. about Alzheimer and other dementias when we talk with her, because this is her, she's the expert on this. I just have seen in my own experiences in hospice and in working with patients with dementia, and even in my own family, my brother-in-law had dementia. I wish I had this book at that time, because there is so much I didn't understand, and I would have seen his journey differently. Because when you're in the middle of taking care of somebody, there's so much happening that you're not able to step back and look at it and see things different. Because if you do, you were able to, at least in my case, if I was able to, I would have been able to honor his soul journey with a lot more peace. Because being a caretaker, when someone who has dementia projects their anger or feelings to you, you take it personally, whereas it actually may not be what that person's trying to project. It might be a releasing of something. And with dementia, the ability to filter out certain things, emotions or words that may sound hurtful, or actions that may be hurtful, that lack of ability because of the what's going on with the brain physically, the caretakers take it personally to heart, and they remove themselves, saying, why should I bother with this? But there's a great lesson in this, and it's been a long lesson for me, myself, on that personal journey with my brother-in-law, to really understand it. And some of the understanding came after he transitioned. And I wish I knew before. And that's why I think her book is so valuable to anybody that's going through the experience of being a caretaker, or to someone with a chronic illness, that it is hopeful. Not just even with the dementia. So she's got many points in this book that she brings forth that applies to many scenarios. So I just want you to think about this. Again, it's constant, the word choices. Choices we make on a daily basis, 24/7. That in the words we use and our thoughts and how we see ourselves, we are creating, you've heard this before, that you're the painters creating on the canvas of life. And it is so true when you really think about it, to realize you are not limited, that you can be whatever you wish to be. And the choices you make, you have to be responsible for them. I mean, you can make positive choices and everything is going to go great, and it does. Or you can make some negative choices and karma works, and you'll be responsible for those too. So if you can keep just these few ideas I try to put forth today into your thoughts, and think about them if you wish to. If it does not make any sense, well, that's honestly fine too, because I've gone through the point of reading many things or hearing things that didn't make sense to me, and then later on it did. It's just I wish to put them out there. So thank you for letting me share my thoughts with you today, and also I'm letting you know that I'm going to get more active in working with people, because this is part of my journey now as far as my stepping out into more of the public. Please check out my website, www.sanctuaryofthewhitedove.com, where you'll see my services, and one of the services I'll be adding shortly will be a mentoring program, or a personalized program of helping you facilitate your own growth and awareness. And also you'll see the radio page of the Circle of Hearts listed in all the archives of some of the shows we had, actually all the shows that we have. And take it as anything that's put out there is to help you become who you are, which is a very expansive spirit in physical form. Because as you grow, we all grow. And this is the whole part of being in oneness. So also, if you wish to ever contact me, I'm Allayah Fresh on Facebook. Or else if you go to my page on Circle of Hearts Radio on OMTimes Radio FM, you'll find places where you can contact me, or my website. I am open to interaction with all of you because this is the next phase. And I hope in the future that you continue your journey and to, find blessings in your life. And if you come back, leave with one thing today. Remember choices. You have the choice to be all that you can be, and no one can stop you. So until next week, my heart to your heart, I wish you abundance and love. And have a wonderful week. Namaste.